Hello everyone, welcome to Take Better Photos. Today we're going to be teaching ways to get better bokeh with just your iPhone. Bokeh comes from the Japanese word which means blur or haze. Visit any photography website or YouTube channel and you'll find plenty of discussions on this topic. For those beginners though, bokeh is defined as the effect of a soft out-of-focus background that you get when shooting a subject using fast lens at the widest aperture, such as f2.8 or wider. So to produce bokeh, you need hardware that captures a lot of light. The iPhone unfortunately has a really tiny sensor which gathers light 15 times less than the sensors in those everyday APS-C cameras. In other words, iPhone's sensor and lens hardware doesn't allow you to produce much bokeh. So what do we do about it then? Without further ado, let's list 3 options for the iPhone. Number 1. Use a portrait lens attachment. The portrait lens attachment turns a wide-angle lens into a telephoto. All things being equal, a longer focal length contributes to a better blur. I personally use the Zero portrait lens, which I attach to an iPhone X, but you can use similar great quality portrait lenses from Moment or Sandmark. The attachment gives an equivalent 50mm focal length. It may be because of its physically larger size or the design of the glass inside, but in my tests, the portrait lens produces more prominent bokeh than the built-in telephoto. To increase the likelihood of creating visible bokeh in your photographs, lengthen the distance between your subject and the background. In other words, don't position your subject right against the wall and move in close, around 12 inches, which is the minimum focusing distance of the iPhone. The portrait attachment is the best natural method of producing blur, but it isn't practical when shooting people as it requires you to stand a couple of feet away. For that, you can use the next 2 methods. Number 2. Use portrait mode. Portrait mode should be well known to anyone who owns an iPhone. It takes advantage of the iPhone's dual camera system by taking information from both the telephoto and the wide-angle lens to map the depth of the image. The effect looks best on close-up portraits. I like to use Pro Camera's implementation of portrait mode as it allows me to adjust the depth of field after I take the photo, even in an older iPhone X. However, if you have the later iPhones, like the XS or 11, those have a similar feature called depth control, which does the same thing. Another fun app to use is Halide, which has depth visualizations. When you need to preview gritty details of portrait mode, they have depth view, which shows you the depth map. It helps you identify which parts of the scene are in and out of focus before you press the shutter, so you can adjust your distance to get the optimal blurring effect. Any computational method is not perfect, and portrait mode is no exception. If you are not 4 to 6 feet away from the subject, or the light is poor, or there is limited contrast between the subject and the background, portrait mode will not work. That's part of the limitation of computational photography. Number 3. Use the FabFocus app. FabFocus is a paid app available on the App Store. It uses facial recognition and human body recognition to bring depth of field and bokeh effects to any iPhone. FabFocus has several unique tricks over portrait mode. First, it does not require 2 lenses. You can use the wide-angle lens to take the photo. It's great for taking full-body portraits or other wider perspectives. However, you can use the telephoto if you want to as well. Second, unlike portrait mode, you don't have the troublesome requirement to stand 4 to 6 feet away from the subject. You can take close-ups or full-body shots as long as the face is visible, and it will work. Third, you don't need the latest iPhones to use it. Older devices will work just fine. On the minus side, Since Fab Focus doesn't rely on depth information, it is less accurate than portrait mode. Thank goodness you can use your finger with the built-in tool to make post adjustments to correct any blurring mistakes. The tool is pretty easy to use. Another limitation is its AI will only work in scenes where a human face is present. Finally, the app's processing time is really long. That doesn't include the editing time you'll likely spend correcting any mistakes. Despite its flaws, the pluses still outweigh the minuses, and for those who don't mind its limitations, you'll love its versatility and the images it produces. So there you have it, 3 ways to achieve bokeh on your iPhone. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and consider subscribing. I'd like to know if you have your own strategies to achieve bokeh, or if you have any questions, do post it in the comments. Till the next video, happy shooting!